All right, welcome everybody to our latest Live Motocross podcast. As I'm joined by the great man, former star racer Jackson Richardson, who keeps bringing the heat with the banter of late on the socials as we chat all things Glendale after a crazy fourth round and preview the Tampa round where the East 250s kick in. But before we welcome him, we'd like to thank everyone for listening and supporting the website. Obviously, we really appreciate it. We'd also like to thank our partners in Fly Racing at 24MX, Dirt Store, and Fuchs Silkaline for all their incredible support, as without them, none of this would be possible. All right, welcome, Richo. How's life? And thanks for joining us, mate, in the busy schedule, mate. You're slaving away up there in the heat, no doubt.
Oh, big time. Well, not much heat at the moment. Just an absolute crazy amount of rain we've been getting at the moment. There's been some flooding around us, but luckily we haven't dealt with it too bad. But yeah, she's moist up here at the moment. So yeah, at least I'm not getting sunburned. Put it that way.
Yeah, mate, not one, not the other. The weather in Australia is a bit gnarly all over the joint. But yeah, thoughts on Glendale, mate? The track was absolutely wild. Obviously, having raced there not that long ago, really, mate. You probably would have wanted no part of that, mate. But looked fun in some ways. But yeah, definitely pretty jarring on the wrists and the knees. And a lot of blokes were having bike issues, some massive landings to flat, big sections. Huge different things you could pop, mate. It made for some pretty cool racing, great for the spectators. But your thoughts on the track, mate? Definitely a challenging one, but they're really stepping up the tracks this year. They've been pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, like you said, yeah, the tracks have been real impressive this year. Every track so far has been good. And I mean, this one in Glendale on the weekend, I mean, geez, I mean, that was a man's track. That was 100% a man's track because, man, there was some massive rhythms in there. And just like, the trip, that big triple across the start straight, that was like 80, I think it was 80 feet, JT was saying on the broadcast. I tell you what, the boys would be wrapping the ankles and the wrists in ice on the Sunday after that one because that was brutal. Because you had that 80-foot triple across the start, then you had the wall jump before the finish that the boys were just sending every lap, and then there was that quad at the end of that rhythm section before you go back across the start straight into the sand, and like I tell you what, awesome as a spectator if you're watching that thing, and it was good for me watching on TV. But don't worry, when a few of the guys like came up like short on those things, my ankles were hurting with them because man, they just had some booters out there. I haven't got a chance to see many of the post race interviews and see what the riders thought of the track. I mean, the only real thing I seen that was like a classic was Mitch Oldenburg put a post up his post race post, and then said, "Geez, is anyone else's wrists and ankles sore after doing those fucking rhythms on the weekend?" And man, because like that just looked brutal. I mean, I seen Tomac come up shorter like once or twice on something, and I was like, oh god, that wouldn't have tickled, but I mean, it made for great race, and like both classes had three awesome races, and unfortunately, like the news came out about Jed today, which is what like we're all like we were hoping for the best, but expecting the worst, and yeah, unfortunately, he did the ACL in that third race, which is like when I first seen it, I thought that's probably what it could have been, and then Lars was talking after, said it possibly could be a stinger, like what happened to Kenny back at Salt Lake. I think it was last year or the year before even. And yeah, he dabbed his knee, and then it ended up being nothing too serious. So I was thinking, I'm hoping it's that, like at least. But yeah, then Jed announced yesterday that ACL, slight tear in the meniscus as well. So he's done for a couple of months now, which is a shame. It's a shame for the series. And like, yeah, it's gonna suck not seeing him out there, being in amongst it with the boys, because like this championship was shaping up to be an absolute barn burner. So yeah, it sucks that he's out, and so no, just gotta get in, start rehabbing, and then who knows? Maybe, hopefully, we'll see him at some of the outdoors. Maybe I think that's what we can all hope for at this point.
Yeah, that's the best case scenario. Yeah, 2 weeks, two heavy hitters out, mate. Obviously, Prado the week before, needing surgery on that shoulder. He was slating himself for a pro motocross title push. So couple of big heavy hitters gone, mate. Huge blow for them. Everyone, the teams, the series, all that work they put in. But yeah, real disaster,
Yeah.
mate. I guess opens up the opportunity for those, Chase, Ken, Eli, and Webb. They'll all probably get a little bit of a boost, even though obviously you hate to see it. But those guys will be like, it's my chance to seize the day, won't they, mate? And it's like they'll all be wanting to put a flex on at Tampa. Obviously, that'll be a home race for a lot of guys and a lot of teams and a lot of the industry now. It's sort of like taken over from the California, isn't it? That side of the country, that Florida area. And yeah, Tampa's going to be good. And like you were saying about Tomac, he was just hauling, mate. He was just giving that thing everything, mate. Watching him ride the beast mode. He wants to go to another level. He's just letting that thing eat. He can't get enough power out of it. So it's pretty amazing watching him go around, isn't it, mate? And you saw that track, like you were saying, JT had that walk, and usually they're showing ruts and stuff, but they had case marks on some of those things. It was that gnarly, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, it was insane. Yeah, the way that track ended up turning out. Oh yeah, it was wild with some of the stuff that they ended up doing out there. And yeah, I mean, yeah, dude, it's gonna be crazy now because there was a handful of guys that probably that are in the title hunt at the moment, like with what happened. With what happened to like your Tomacs, your Sextons, your Webbs, like those guys are obviously going to be in the hunt. But even like just a little bit back, I mean, the other guys are probably going, shoot, we might have a chance here. Yeah, we could still be in this thing, like because definitely like I mean, Jet season started out like as bad as it probably could have got at A1. I mean, I don't think we've seen that coming. But then comes back with a second at San Diego, wins A2, and then was on the way to looking like he could have taken out the Triple Crown. Like he already had a 2-2, and with the start he had, he probably could have ended up taking the overall there in the end. But yeah, things took a turn pretty quick, and now it's opened the door for a lot of other guys. And I mean, like the series is going to suffer a bit without Jet, but you know what? There's still just so many other dudes in there. Like this thing is going to be an absolute dogfight. Like because you got Webb, you got Sexton, and you got Tomac. And there's just a bunch of other guys in there that are just in the mix. Anderson has been hot and cold, but he can turn it on. Kenny is obviously right in the mix at the moment, and is probably in just as good a form as he's ever been. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see the ripple effect that this has throughout the rest of the season. Yeah, it's going to be wild for sure. And now we go east to tracks that are a bit softer and probably a bit tighter, especially with some of the stadiums that they're in. Which in seasons past, that's when Cooper Webb's starts to hit his stride a bit when it goes east. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. And especially, I mean, they were beating the drum on the weekend about how Glendale is just the worst venue for him, where his average finish, which I didn't even know, which I was shocked to hear, a seventh place finish was his average finish in Glendale, which was crazy to me. So yeah, it's going to be interesting because Webb's starting to just come on a little bit, got a race win in the first Triple Crown, and then some bad starts hurt him a bit. And then Tomac suffered with a couple of bad starts over the weekend, which set him back a bit, and then came out and dominated race 3. And yeah, for Chase Sexton, I mean, consistency just pays off. Just a couple of consistent scores, and then a little bit unfortunate luck that happened to Jet, and he's able to walk away with the win and get the points lead back. So yeah, just so many different things have happened, and then yeah, the news with Jet going out now. I mean, it's just created a bit of a shockwave throughout the series. So it's going to be interesting now that we're on our way to Tampa.
Oh, it's going to be so good, mate. Before we get into some of the other riders, mate, you got any good memories from racing on that side, that Florida area, Daytona, all that stuff? You got some good memories of racing back there too?
Oh, man, especially Daytona was pretty sure Daytona was the only place I raced at. That was in Florida, and that event is sick because, it's during bike week. You're hanging out around Daytona, and there's just Harleys like everywhere. Like I must have seen a million Harleys the 2 times I raced there. It was awesome. And like Daytona's cool as well. Like that is a sick place. It's real. Yeah, it's just a real chill place. So yeah, that was one of my favorite places for sure. And just being in Florida in general, I just loved the scenery down there. I mainly liked it because it reminded me of home a fair bit, like just the landscape of that place. And I mean, it's brutal in the summertime, but at least the winter there is like pretty nice. Yeah, it doesn't get too cold, but yeah, no, it's a good place. So yeah, just love that place.
Yeah, mate, pretty cool stuff. Yeah, it's always good to get a bit of a flashback on the memories of mate back in the days racing over there for you. So, no, it
Yeah,
should be a good one, mate. Tampa's definitely shaping up well, and yeah, Sexton. You sort of feel like that win was a long time ago, don't you? Obviously, got 3-3-2. You probably wanted to rubber stamp it with getting a win in one of the mains, but you take it, mate. It's what you got to do is keep banking those points, being consistent, and it was pretty impressive. Like Kenny, he just keeps proven a lot of people wrong too. He's got the staying power, he's got the speed. You see him doing that quad into the whoops was absolutely elite, and he's happy on that bike, mate. The Suzuki's serving him well. He's got the suspension dialed. Him and Larry are all gelling well, the team. And he's just looking really fast, isn't he, mate? The red plate gave him a little bit extra for sure, and he's obviously lost it now, but he was doing some pretty spunky stuff there, wasn't he, Kenny, mate? He's definitely looking like he could stay in this battle for quite a long time.
yeah, definitely, dude. Yeah, like he is looking good. Probably like the best he's ever looked to me anyway since the beginning of the 2017 Supercross season when he was first with Honda. Like I reckon that's probably fair to say. And man, like yeah, he looks confident. Yeah, like you said, looking spunky on the thing. He's busting out everything. I mean, he's like probably one of the first guys to bust something out. And yeah, like he's just looking good again. Like got a race win on the weekend, held Jet off, and that's a bit of a confidence booster. And then like unfortunately a bad start in the third race probably hurt him a bit, and he probably didn't come through as well as he probably wanted to. But I still think I mean, yeah, losing the red plate it probably sucks a little bit, but I take that as a huge boost for him on the weekend. Like he's well and truly in this thing. His riding is absolutely elite at the moment. So yeah, I'm looking for Kenny to like be in there till the end with the way he's looking right now. It looks good, looks fit, looking good on the bike. So yeah, no, I expect him to be there at the end.
Yeah, he's looking good, mate, for sure. And you obviously touched on Webb, sort of proving the doubters wrong at Glendale. You can never write him off. He had a little dig at RC for saying that he reckoned he'd finish eighth or something. He loved that, I'm sure. He loves sort of proving
Had him
people
in the
wrong and
wild
all
card.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, he had him in the wild card, and I was like, oh man, it's almost like Jordan in the documentary saying, you know what, I took that personally. And then he just comes out, wins the first race after he was probably going, shit. It probably fired him up a bit. So yeah, it was probably a good thing for him. So yeah, no, like it was good for Webb getting on the podium, especially at a venue where he hasn't done very well in the past. And then going east, I mean, it's kind of like a well-known thing throughout the pits where it's like East Coast, that's when Webb starts to hit the stride. Like, and it's like the same, like he doesn't usually come out of the gates like swinging. He sort of like gets a slow burn going, and then yeah, when it goes east, he really seems to heat up. And like when you see the points like throughout the season, like you get to like the Daytona area, like rounds 12, 13, and then you're like, Jesus, Cooper Webb's like right in this thing. But like it's just because like he doesn't come out and like be blazing like fast every weekend, and just setting the lap times like ablaze. Like he doesn't do that often, but like he's just always there. Like he's just it's almost like a stench that you can't get rid of. It's just always there, and like it's good. And like he's one of those guys. He just never gives up, and like bad start or not, he'll always seem to make his way back to the top 5 for the most part. So he's just ultra consistent. So yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure. Like in Tampa this weekend, yeah, I'm looking for big things out of Webb. definitely. I think this is where he starts to pick it up a little bit for sure.
Yeah, mate, he's relentless. He just never gives in. That's for sure. Well said. And obviously, Hunter again with the fifth place, mate. He's just kicking along nicely, making some solid strides. Obviously, not completely there with the bike. And he's kind of that methodical, measured, intelligent approach, not rushing, just trusting the process, isn't he, mate? He's obviously got the speed, but not the speed of those elite guys right now. So just expect more as the season progresses, I guess, from him, isn't it, mate? He's still doing really well. There's no sort of shame in not being able to match like your Tomac level of speed every single round, is there?
Yeah. No, there's definitely no shame in that at all. And Hunter was like him and Jeff were vocal about not being on that on the start of the season, but it seems like they're really starting to work things out. And yeah, like you said, like consistency is so key. Like even the first round wasn't great for him, but now he's gone. Has he gone 3 races getting 5th place, or did he go? Oh, I forget what he went at. A2. What was his A2 finish?
He has gone 11.555.
Yeah. So 3 5th place finishes in a row. Like that, to me, that's awesome. And, I'm sure he wants more. Like, he definitely wants to be on the podium 100%. But you know what? Like, especially at the moment, and he's been sick as well. Let's not forget that. He's been battling the flu. I mean, a lot of these guys have been battling the flu. But to minimize the damage and, get away with a 5th place finish, that's awesome. And he's right there. I mean, if it's one thing we know about these seasons, especially as of recently, anything can happen. I mean, we thought Jet was going to catch fire and run away with this thing. I'm sure we were all thinking that, and now the unthinkable's happened and he's gone. So yeah, I mean, definitely Hunter will. I think he'll take a big step forward here in the next coming weeks, especially going back east, being on tracks that are a bit more familiar. The dirt being a bit more familiar. Yeah, it'll be good. I can see him definitely picking it up now. And he might get a little more attention now. I mean, I'm sure they were getting shared attention, but I mean, it's Jet Lawrence. He might get the lion's share of it, but now all the eggs are in Hunter's basket, and yeah, he's just going to come out and show us what he can do with it. So yeah, I'm expecting big things out of the boy going forward.
Yeah, well said, mate. It's a good point as well. Obviously, Jason Anderson, he's next on the list. Bit of an off night. We were expecting big things from him with that track, that layout, that hard surface, but it didn't quite work out, mate. And he's another one that's, doing it solo because his teammate Prado's out injured. And you look at Jason, he's 20 points back on Kenny and Hunter's 22 back. So by no stretch out of it yet if they can keep putting together some better results and click off some podiums. And if the carnage of this 450 class keeps up, you can get back in there pretty quickly, mate. So your take on Jason Anderson's Glendale wasn't probably what he or us expected.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Yeah, so Anderson's weekend was real weird to me. Yeah, to me, he just didn't look like he really had anything for the top guys. Yeah. Seemed like, he was just a bit off, was struggling a little bit. Yeah, especially he's done well at Phoenix in the past, and he's usually good on those kinds of surfaces as well. So I was at least expecting him to be in with a shot at a podium, but for one reason or another, who knows? He could be still struggling with the flu and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a real weird weekend. It's been a real weird season for him, really, because he got the podium at A1, got the flu at San Diego, ended up 11th, and then and then it's been a bit of a roller coaster for him now that I think about it. Yeah, because he's then A3 led majority of the main event, and then went back to 4th, so still a solid night for him. But then this weekend, he just it didn't even seem like he really had anything for the top guys, and even guys like Justin Hill and that were giving him a run on the weekend. So it's interesting. I don't know what's going on there because the bike, the Cowie doesn't look too bad. I think it's more probably more physically what's going on more than anything. But yeah, who knows? Might turn around. Might just need a week off, just to get back to 100% and yeah, try rebound in Tampa because he's put himself in a pretty decent position points wise. Really, to me, if you're within a race of the championship, like at Daytona, I feel like well within a chance of a championship for sure. So yeah, and he's not too far out of it yet. I mean, there is cause for concern, absolutely, if you're him. But yeah, who knows? Yeah, what do I expect from him at Tampa? I've got no idea. Well, he seems to have gone good race, bad race, good race, bad race. So now he's probably due for a good one. So yeah, who knows? We'll see how it shakes out this weekend.
Yeah, mate, it's going to be good. And then obviously 250s, mate. Really historic. Great win for Jordan Smith. First for the Triumph there. Great result for him and the team. All that hard work's paid off, Pretty quick, really, in the grand scheme of things, how quickly Triumph's got a Supercross win there. First win for FXR, too, as a gear company. That's pretty cool as well, mate. So great night for Smith in the history books, mate. It was coming. They had 4 different winners in 4 rounds, and he's got the experience, and he'll lean on that because, a lot of those other youngsters, mate, like there was a podium of all teenagers the week before, wasn't it? So having that experience, and then you get the standard Deegan dig saying there should be an age limit on the class, but it's all box office with Deegs, isn't it, mate? But he's not riding probably where he wants to be either. It's going to be interesting dynamic to see with him and Davies because there's not a lot separating the two at the moment. So it's pretty hard to pick a favourite, really, between Juju and Deegan and Smith and maybe even Davies, maybe even Shimoda if he heals up. But it's pretty interesting, mate. He's left a lot of points on the table, Deegan, and so has Juju from the weekend. He had the starts and binned it early, mate. So he'd be pretty disappointed too with that one, Juju, wouldn't he?
Oh man, absolutely 100%. That is a weekend where, like, for Juju, a guy, like a young guy being in that position. And like, it's just small. I mean, those were big moments for sure, but it's like, they're really like small moments where you go, oh God, I really let one go there. Well, he let 2 go because he had the lead in both of them. And then, I don't know if it was like just pushing too hard. The second one, it seemed like it just caught him off guard a bit. The first crash in the first main event, that was just from, the track being slick, pushing it a bit too hard for the conditions. And then the second one, it just seemed like it caught him off guard. Just like hit a loose patch of dirt, just tucked the front end going up that single, and then was lucky to not get run over by anyone. So we'll see how he rebounds from this. I mean, it sucks too that the breaks come for him now because like now you got a couple of weeks to stew over it. Whereas like if there was a race this weekend, then you go, all right, forget about it. I'm just gonna, that one's in the rear view mirror. I gotta just focus on this one. But yeah, I think that'll bug him a little bit. But I mean, hey, we'll see when they come back. He's riding unreal. Like his speed is just awesome at the moment. I'm pretty sure he's been number 1 qualifier at each round so far, actually, now that I think about it. And then I mean, going on to Deegan, it's been a real, I mean, I think everyone just crowned him too early at the first round. And I mean, he looked good as well. And then, it hasn't exactly gone to plan. I mean, how he would have thought it was going to go. Because, the first round, okay, first turn crash. I mean, came back to 5th, which was an unreal ride. And then a 3rd at San Diego where he didn't get the best start, but he was in the mix there, but just couldn't catch up to Beaumare and Smith in that one. And then got a win. And we thought, oh, okay, he's all the way back now. Like, it was a dominating win at A2. And then, really didn't really have anything for Cole. I mean, he gave Cole a good run in the first race and like he went down. Oh, he went down in the first race. Oh, actually, I had him mixed up. I had him mixed up with Smith. But yeah, he tipped over in the first race. Second race, Cole Davies just beat him straight up. Like there was no ifs, ands, or buts about that. He just beat him straight up. And then yeah, the third one, he just like got a not real good start and didn't seem to make his way through, which I'm sure a lot of people would have thought, Deegan, especially being in a position like that, even at San Diego when he didn't get the worst start in the world, and you went, oh, okay, well he's gonna make his way up to the front and like beat like on their ass, like challenging for a win, but we haven't seen it. So I think it's probably shocked him maybe a little bit that that he's not running away with this thing like he thought he would. I mean, we're into the fourth round for those guys, and he hasn't held the points lead yet. So yeah, it's going to be interesting when it comes back because there's just so many uncertainties, and then Smith is getting on a bit of a roll now, getting Triumph's first win. That's a huge boost for them and for him too. Like, I mean, he left pretty much one of the most, if not the most established 250 team to go over to a complete unknown, really. Triumph, second year racing in America on Supercross, second year of Supercross. And then he comes out, gets a win, and then he's been consistent as well. He's right well in the mix with these guys. And, and then Cole Davies as well, which was so unfortunate that he went down in the third main event because I am almost certain he would have walked out of there with the overall win, having gone 1-1 in the first two main events. And then, just unfortunately a bad start. And then when you get like a really bad start, you're back there with all the chaos. And we've seen another rider just caught the tough block with his foot peg, dragged it out in front of him, and then that was that. So a bit of a bummer for him, but man, he has got to take so much confidence from those races. I mean, the first race he was able to hold Smith at bay, like for pretty much the entire thing. Second race, he beat his teammate just straight up, and just a straight up heads up race. And then, just unfortunately that third one cost him a bit. But for him, two podiums back to back, he has just got to be on cloud nine at the moment. And then to top it all off, getting the Whitaker's care package, I mean, that's just unreal. I mean, good on him. And it probably couldn't happen to a nicer dude. He just seems like he's just super chilled, laid back. You hear him in his interviews. Almost seems like he's just smoked a doobie before he's got up and got on the mic. The dude is just so laid back. It's awesome. It's awesome to see. I mean, I couldn't be more stoked for the kid, man. He's got a bright future ahead of him. I'm happy for him.
Yeah, mate. And obviously, a couple more things on him as well. He just rides like a veteran. He's so composed, calm. The technique's excellent. He's obviously improved heaps in a year, even though he won that SMX Futures last year. He's at a huge level now. That Star Racing moves worked really well. And I guess you were saying those whoops, mate, he's got them so dialed. That's the toughest thing for these youngsters and anyone really transitioning into Supercross. But he's making everything look easy. He's definitely been putting in the work and it's paying off for him, isn't it?
Oh, man. I got to admit, I'm trying to think back to maybe a couple of guys who I've seen make a big jump. He probably has made the biggest jump in skill and speed, probably better than anyone I've seen in the last I don't know how many years. Just from where he was when he was racing the Futures races. And he had speed, but the technique wasn't there. He was a little bit erratic, and he looked a bit uncomfortable on the Supercross track. Fast forward to where he is now, he looks like a completely different rider. And for a small guy like him, I mean, for small riders in general in Supercross, especially in the whoops, it's usually a bit of a disadvantage. I mean, I haven't seen too many small guys absolutely annihilate a set of whoops over the years. But man, he just it might not be the speed like in the whoops that I take out more than anything. I mean, he is fast through the whoops, but he's by no means like the quickest I've ever seen to him. But his technique is just so superb in the whoops. Like when he gets up and he gets into position, his body does not look like it's moving through the whoops, because you see through the whoops and it's usually like you see it's the head going back and forth and stuff like that. I feel like he could balance an egg on his head and go across them whoops. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's super impressive, mate, and it sort of rings back to the Indian Stadium cross, mate, with the no hand whoops.
Yeah, yeah, no hand whoops. I feel like he could pull off something like that. Yeah, he looks like he's got the skill for it. He's absolutely dialed in. So yeah, I can't see why not.
Yeah, mate, it's complete opposite. Yeah, he's making it look easy. It'd be really cool to follow his progress, because you think if not this year, he kind of already is a contender, but the next few years, 250 title definitely beckons, mate. So, and looks like it'll be a great 450 ride as well, mate. So there'll be a few teams throwing some big money offers at him as well. And another bloke that you know really well, mate, Moseman. He's had that top speed all year, hasn't he, mate? But he's been coming through the pack, and obviously we've been following pretty closely just to see how he's going. And he had another great sort of progress this weekend as well, mate. He was hanging it up there, passing Deegan, had the speed. He's looking really good on the bike as well, mate, in the battle there. So many good signs as well as he builds back to a level resembling his best, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it was a huge step in the right direction for Mike this weekend. Yeah.
It was good. It was good to see, and really, he's shown good speed, and has had a couple of good showings in the heat races, but yeah, just unfortunately, the main events for him have been a bit of a killer. Like, just bad starts. They just hurt you, like, big time. You're just so far back from the get-go. And with the guys being as fast as they are, it's going to be tough to try and beat them when you're starting outside the top 10. Like, it's damn near impossible. But, man, yeah, he pretty much all three motos, he got three good starts. He binned it in the sand in one moto. That set him back a little ways. But, yeah, and he was getting up there and getting in the mix. Yeah, made a pass on Deegan. And, yeah, he was, like, up there battling with the guys, which was an awesome sight. And I just hope he just, takes that momentum into the break, makes a few improvements over the break, and he comes out and he's contending for podiums, which he's podiumed in the past, and like he's won in the past. So he's proven that he can do it. So yeah, I'm hoping for big things out of him once the series comes back. But yeah, it was a good race to go into the break with. Put it that way, definitely.
Yeah, well said, mate. A couple more before we wrap this one up. Obviously, Billy Laninovich, mate, 41 years old. I think he is making the main event. How good's that? And also those futures lads picked a pretty tough track too to have that SMX Next series as well.
Oh, man. If you were... actually, first of all, big shout out to Billy Laninovich, because when I was living over there, I was able to get coached by him a little bit when I was there. So he showed me the ropes on the Supercross track when I was living over there. And, like, he's just an awesome dude as well. Like, he's just super chilled, laid back. And then, yeah, to see him make the main event on the weekend, 41 years old, was just unreal, dude. And, like, because I didn't get to see much footage of him, like, on the broadcast, but I was watching some footage of him, like, from qualifying that someone had shot. And I was like, man, Billy, he's looking good. He's looking pretty spicy for the old fella. Out there, you know what? He's throwing it down a little bit. I'm like, man, he's still got it. And man, yeah. I mean, and unfortunately he got beat up a bit during the season. Like, he cracked a rib. I'm sure at 41 years old, that isn't gonna feel good, like, whatsoever. So I mean, hats off to him for getting out there and doing it. Just what a beast. And then like the if you're one of those SMX riders rolling out for track walk on that one, you're just thinking, I mean, it's not a track that you want to be introduced to Supercross on, put it that way. Because, man, there was some big jumps out there, which none of the well, I didn't see any of the SMX Next riders attempt any of those big ones, which was a good thing. I didn't want to see any of them walk out of there with a couple of broken tib fibs, put it that way. But yeah, brutal track for them to cut their teeth on, put it that way. But yeah, seen some good things. There was some good racing in there. So yeah, I'm not sure where the next one is now, but yeah, it's good. Always good racing in there. But yeah, I'm stoked for the next one. Put it that way.
Yeah, I think it could be Daytona, mate. I'm
Oh
pretty
yeah,
sure we'll watch this space on that one. But yeah, and as we wrap up, last one, mate, obviously 250 East clocking in this weekend. It's going to be absolutely stacked. Obviously, there's a few question marks over a few dudes, but if we just peel off a few names, mate, Hymas, Faulkner, Kitchen, Anstey, McAdoo, Hammaker, Brown, Bennick, Thrasher, Vial, Hampshire, those guys were the two title winners last year in the coasts, respectively. Obviously,
yeah.
Cochran doesn't look like he'll be racing, but you got Volan, Mumford, Romano, Park. It's just absolutely wild, the depth in this class, isn't it, mate? So good luck picking a winner. There's going to be quite a few throughout the season, I'd imagine.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, just the list of names you read off then. I mean, we talked about it before. There might be 9 different winners by the time this season's done. I mean, there could be like 3 different blokes that hold the red plate at some point during this season. Like that's just the kind of season I see shaping up with this one. And like when I see some of the guys in this field here, I mean, there's been guys in here that have been known to be inconsistent throughout a season. You know, like Pierce Brown's always been hot and cold. He can win. We've seen him win before. Like we've seen him win races before, and then you got a guy like Max Anstey, a veteran who's won races before, McAdoo who's won a few races in the past, but then has trouble like staying healthy and like crashes and that have set him back. Seth Hammaker as well. Seth Hammaker is the guy who's been like hot and cold. He can come out and win, and then you don't know. So I feel like there's going to be so much parity throughout this season. I don't think there's one clear-cut favorite in this one. If you asked me, if you had to inject me with truth serum and who I thought was going to win, I would say Max Anstey's going to be the guy. But then again, I'm still not completely sure. But he's the guy who I would say is probably going to win this thing.
Yeah, if you're on the betting odds, mate, which the betting odds are actually not available in Australia for some reason. Maybe that's why, mate. A lot of injury news on both classes, but yeah, they do some pretty wild odds going on there. And obviously, we get your predictions as well, mate, for Tampa. And just to quickly look back on Glendale, you're actually pretty close on the 450s. You had Ken, Webb, and Tomac for the podium. And then in the 250s, that was a bit all over the shop where you had Deegan, Juju, and Shimoda. So who you got this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, 450s this weekend in Tampa. I'm going to say Webb won. I'm going to go Webb 1. I think he gets his first legit main event win of the season. Go Tomac 2nd, Sexton 3rd. And then 250s, this is where it's going to get dicey. I mean, I am going to say Anstey win. Pierce Brown 2nd. Probably Seth Hammaker 3rd.
Oh, no Faulkner in there, mate.
Nah, yeah. The kind of like the switch to the East Coast at the because he was doing West originally, and then there was a switch to the East Coast. Who knows? He might have improved a bit, but that sort of tells me maybe not too comfortable on the bike yet. Needed a bit of extra time. I mean, who knows? He might have figured things out over that time. I mean, we've obviously seen that bike can win, so it's definitely not a bad bike, put it that way. It's a bike that can win these races. So, and yeah, first race back after that gnarly wreck last year. Yeah, we'll see. I'd put him in the top 5 definitely for that one. But yeah, I'm just not all the way there yet with him, just from what I've seen. Yeah, and Pierce Brown finished the season strong last year, going to Star, and then Anstey had always he had made a big jump in Supercross, made massive improvements over the last couple of years, and then also being on a Star bike for this Supercross season after a full preseason on it. Yeah, it's gonna be tough, but yeah, I still give it to Anstey for the win this weekend.
Oh, it's going to be so good, mate. And obviously, we haven't even got Vial and Hampshire in there, the winners from
Oh
last
my
year. So it
god,
just shows the depth,
I
doesn't it?
haven't even put the defending champ in there. I forgot. That's how wild this field is. I forgot that the defending East Coast champ was in the field.
And West Coast champ as well.
Yeah, West Coast. Oh, RJ's in there. Oh,
Yeah.
oh my god. Oh, hang on. I'm just going through the list. I'm redoing. I need a mulligan on my list.
We can change it.
Mulligan. All right. Yeah, I still got it here. Okay, all right. So I still go Anstey for the win. I go RJ second, Vial third.
Oh, late change.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, the first list was still pretty, spot on as well. Like, you couldn't argue with it, really, because it's just that ridiculous,
you probably
isn't it?
go, oh, yeah? Fuck, he knows what he's talking about. Little did he just forget who else was in the class, too.
Oh, it's that stack,
Now
isn't it, mate? Literally.
now I'm thinking, oh, man, maybe Faulkner might not be a lock for a top 5 yet.
Yeah, no one is.
Yeah. And just with hey, these guys could finish on the podium or they could be outside the top 5, put it that way.
Yeah, there could be some pretty good LCQs coming up.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I can't wait to see it, mate. But how are you going to be tuning in? You got the weekend off, mate. Any final thoughts? What's the week ahead looking like? And obviously you'll be pumped. There's a few GP warm-up races. There's one in Italy. The Hawkstone one's not on TV, but there's a bit of moto. There's some motocross is kicking back into for the World Championship dudes, getting their warm-ups in ahead of Argentina in a month or so. So there's a fair bit on, mate. You'll have the 7 screens, maybe.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Might have to run multiple ones too. Well, this weekend, especially with this wet weather, I think golf's out of the question. So I'm just going to be completely locked in. Probably get a few laps clocked up on MX versus ATV before then. But other than that, I'll be locked into a TV, just keeping tabs on things.
That'll be good, mate. Thanks again for joining us on this one. Been another ripper chat. And obviously, thanks to sponsors in Fly Racing, 24MX, Dirt Store, and Fuchs Silkaline for all their support of these. We really appreciate it. As without them, this would not be possible. All right, thanks again, Jats, mate. Been another cracking podcast. Look forward to watching the racing and catching up next week.
Sounds good, mate. Too easy.
No worries, mate. Have a good one.